Today we're going to make a scrapbook layout with these two scraps of paper and these square photos. And here are four I'm going to put in a grid. Here's a fifth one that I'm going to put in a peekaboo pocket. And I most likely am going to put journaling, probably in a 4x4 in the pocket here. Now the technique I'm going to use is one I saw Noreen Smith make. However, I cannot find Noreen's video, so if someone does know where it is, I would love to get that link so that I could put it in the description of this video. But I'm going to change it a bit because Noreen's photos are smaller than 4x4. And my photos, I really do not want to cut any smaller than 4x4. So Noreen's design calls for two bands of paper, one that goes horizontal and one that goes vertical. And I view this paper as being somewhat vertical. I chose both of these papers for their colors. I felt that they blended well with the photos. And so this is so fast, don't blink. So I'm going to cut two bands of paper, one horizontal and one vertical. Now, Noreen cut her papers at 4 inches, but because my photos are larger than what Noreen was using, I'm cutting my papers at 3 inches. So I'm going to cut each paper 3 inch by 12 inch. So now I have these two 3-inch wide strips of paper, and I'm going to cut them on the diagonal. But before I cut them, I want to talk about how I want them to go on the paper. So I have these two 3-inch wide strips of paper, and I'm going to cut each one on a diagonal. And it's a matter of preference. If I want to make the wide side at the top here go like this or go like that. Similarly, whatever I choose for making the wide end versus the narrow end of the triangle, I'm going to want the opposite to match the vertical. So to say that again a different way, I want to take the wide side of the vertical strip and match it to the skinny side of the horizontal strip. So if you want to, you could actually draw a pencil line and cut on the line if you wanted to do that. So I have my horizontal strip and my vertical strip down, and I'm going to be cutting on one angle. I want to match the wide side of the vertical to the skinny side of the horizontal, and the reverse is true. I would want the wide side of the horizontal to match the skinny side of the vertical. So that means I'm going to use my pencil to tell me where I'm going to start my cut. And I'm going to start my cut on this side. I want the page, this horizontal strip at the top. I want it to be the widest on this corner. So that's going to tell me that I want to cut from this corner down to that corner. when I put it in my trimmer. And this is going to be the wide side, making this the skinny side. So therefore, I want my vertical piece to have its wide side here, and I want to cut it in this direction. So I'm putting a pencil mark to tell me that I want to cut from here to here. So now that I know how I want to cut my two pieces of paper, I'm essentially lining them up with, in this case, the way I've oriented this paper, I'm going to start the top of my cut on these two corners. So now I have my pencil mark here. So this is my wide side. My wide side is where I put the pencil mark. Skinny side is going to be the other side. And that's from looking at it from the top. And to make sure that I'm hitting right at that tip, I'm using the guidelines. Okay, good. And I think I'll have to trim with my scissors this little tip. So this is my first cut piece. I'm basically cutting the very same angle with this piece. So here are our cuts. And I'm going to take my horizontal and put them at the top and bottom. And then I'm taking my vertical and I'm putting them to the edges. So I'm moving all the strips to the outer edges. Now I noticed that because of the way I cut the paper, I have this square in the center that's pointing that way. If I had made the wide side of this top one on this side, this square would have been tilted to the left. I happen to like it being tilted to the right. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to put all of the skinny pieces on the bottom and have them covered up by the wide piece. So I'm putting this here and I'm putting that there. Okay. So now that is the look we're going for, where the skinny pieces meet up with the wide pieces and you don't see those final tips. And to do a quick fit check, our 4x4 photos are fitting beautifully right here in the middle. And we did that with just 2 strips of scrap paper that are just 3 inches wide. And we made this awesome, awesome layout. Now this is similar to one that I made just a few weeks ago with the yellow and the greens, where the triangles met in the middle. It takes a similar concept, but we're working with scraps here, and that's the point. These are ideas for what you can do with your scraps of paper. 3-inch strips, and now you have this. There are a large number of ideas that you can do when you have this. You could put one photo in here. So you can put a couple of 4x6 prints in here. You can get some wonderful configurations of photos. Here's 4x3s. You can get 6x4s, and because it's symmetrical, whether you do it vertically or horizontally. But I just think this is a lovely, lovely layout. It's nice and whimsical. One more thing that I want to say about this is this would make a beautiful 2-page layout also. You could have one side where your square is going this direction, and you could have another side where your square is going a different direction. Also, it's a square because we use 3 inches on both bands of paper, the horizontal band and the vertical band. Just note, if you were to bring in and say maybe make one band a little larger, this is what it would look like if one band was 4 inches while the other was 3 inches. I just wanted to say, what if you wanted a more rectangular shape in the middle instead of the square? You could cut your square to be a little bit wider. In this case, what I have now, I have the band of paper being 4 inches. This band would be 4 inches instead of 3 inches. And that gives the inside look here more of a rectangle, and it would beautifully hold 2 6x4 photos. And you could do the opposite and make one band 4 inches and have the photos go like this. So I did squares because I was working with square photos. So you can arrange and remake the same concept and design in so many different ways and get those scraps used up to work for your photos. So the next step now is to get our papers adhered to the page. And I'm going to use my favorite repositionable adhesive here. And I'm going to start with layering down the skinny ends, just the skinny ends. Because the skinny ends will always be on the bottom. So this paper is aligned, but only the skinny end is attached. And I think the best way to deal with this really is to just keep this turned towards myself instead of trying to reach up to do it. Okay, so I have the skinny ends now adhered. Now I will just put down, and you can use either type of your favorite adhesive to put down the rest. Now, the one piece of advice I'll give for adhering these strips down after just adhering the skinny side only is that the end that matters is the wide end. You want it aligned well. And then once you get the wide end aligned, the skinny end will kind of just fall into wherever place it's going to be because it's going to be covered up anyway. So don't try to make sure that that tip hits the very end of the paper or something like that because it will be covered up. So align to your wide side, adhere your skinny side. Now once you have your skinny sides adhered, you can use whatever your favorite adhesive is. You can use the tape runner. You can continue to use the repositionable, whichever one you think works best for you. I'm going to finish off with tape runner just because I have more tape runner than I have of anything else. And so I just love this. I think this is a beautiful, beautiful page. And I'm ready to put down my photos. So I think this is lovely. And let me get these photos adhered. Yes, I want this one to be on the top. This one is going to be my peekaboo pocket. So this is the one I'll adhere. So now this is just a lovely page. The next thing that Noreen did was she put some borders here on the edge. Now she just did the horizontal sheets and put them on diagonals here. So I'm going to go look to see what my options are. I can use a sticker or I can punch a border, and let's see what I like the best. And here's the final layout. I found some great stickers from a set called Sweet Blooms. And I was able to get a border sticker that I like, that I put one sticker at the top, one sticker at the bottom. I pulled from the Sweet Blooms sticker set some stickers to go in this embellishment cluster. And I did some punching and plenty of scraps to cut and punch some elements to go on this embellishment cluster. So this was our fast, easy, but turned out great scraps only layout, which I think is number 29. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fine scrappy day.